Have you ever wondered why people show so much interest in psychics, but seem to have little respect towards them? Of course, for the believers, they speak words of gold and spread miracles around. But for the non-believers, they get paid from reading your body languages. Whether you consider people's psychic ability as a gift or something demonic, you should look at them and their gifts with an open mind. I have to admit that I have always been fascinated about psychics, like horoscopes, palm reading, past life regression, to tarot card reading. If it falls within my entertainment budget, I will be there. Of course, that probably tells you how cheap I am. After I wrapped up most of my responsibilities 2 years ago, I decided to go for my dreams. I spent a lot of time mystery digging. One subject I like most is all matters psychic. I attended angel, Reiki, and psychic classes. I attended several psychic fairs, and that is where I met Debra. I booked a private session with her, but it soon turned to a group meeting after my spirit guides joined in. To make a long story short, we had a very interesting conversation. Our team decided to attend Debra's bi-monthly mediumship demo in Irvine. There were about 15 people in attendance. After the opening mediation, Debra started to pass messages she received. Unlike the Long Island medium where Teresa Caputo only gives messages to a specific person in a group, Debra gave messages to everyone there. I got some more messages from my mom and sister, and watched as the others' reactions to the messages were absolutely stunning.
Don't worry, because you worry a lot. Do you understand that? And it's also about, it's about learning how to speak your truth. Talking to you and telling you that it's about coming back to where you belong again.
After 2 hours of tears flowing down and smiles popping up, Debra stopped the session at 9 p.m. Although I can't show you the medium session other than these few pictures, I did get some quick feedbacks. Here we go.
How do you like the reading?
I found the readings to be very right on. She identified a friend of mine, she identified a second cousin, and she identified my mother.
Can you tell me how do you feel about today's section?
I think it was really great. I mean, I kind of came with an open mind and had no expectations, but, just listening to her, what she said for me and others was actually really amazing, and she just gave a lot of confirmation and really, hit the nail on the head with everything. Obviously it felt very real and honest, so very appreciative of her.
Thank you very much. How about you?
Oh, I thought it was great. I mean,
is there any information that you didn't expect to come out that came?
Yes, definitely.
And it's very specific?
I guess for me, just I have been able to have contact with my father since he passed away.
Oh,
And it was
okay.
very sudden, so it's been 13 years and it's been haunting me, so.
Okay, great. So you got your closure? Kind of?
Kind of.
Okay.
Another one-on-one session.
Thank you so much. Okay.
The meeting was the first medium experience for most people there, but everyone seemed to be happy with the experience. If you have any more questions about mediumship not covered by our interview, feel free to post your comments. Maybe we can do a follow-up video and clear it all up.
Hi, my name is Debra Hookey. I am a psychic medium, and I communicate with those on the other side.
Hi, this is Ken Peters here in Irvine, California, and I'm going to speak with psychic medium Debra Hookey. Debra, I have some questions for you, if that's okay.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, how or what got you into this type of a career?
Wow, I would have never thought that this was going to be my career. I was always interested in mediumship. In fact, I used to watch Sylvia Brown on Montel, and I really loved to watch to see what she would have to say. And so with that, I started taking classes from a spiritualist medium, and she taught classes, and it was like every Monday, and for 5 years I took classes with her every Monday, and I developed my mediumship. Because I was so interested, that's why for me it was worth coming to the classes every Monday. And what we taught was structured. We taught to bring in the spirit, and if it was male or female, and if it was how are they related? Was it a family member, or maybe it was a friend? And okay, so can you describe them to us? And okay, so if this is how they look, then what else can you tell us that is evidential? Because that is what mediumship is about. It's about giving that evidential information. And from that, then we gave that evidential information. And then if there was a message from that spirit, that loved one, then we went ahead and gave that message as well. So, and I've been doing mediumship for over 16 years now, 16, 17 years. So.
And the positives and what have been maybe some negatives about choosing this type of a career?
Well, you are always judged. I mean, whether you are bringing in a loved one, and are you exactly right, or people are always looking for you to be wrong. But this work is about giving a message of healing. It's to let them know that their loved ones are still here, that life still exists after death. And that is the whole purpose of mediumship. It's to know that your loved ones are still here. And so it is a form of healing. And it truly is something that for all those people that have grieved for years and years, and some maybe I just read for somebody that their wife was murdered, and he was grieving for 16 years. He never had any closure. And when he came to me, he never ever received a reading. He was very cold. And when I sat with him and his sister, I talked to him for a little while, and then I brought in his wife, and then the healing began. And everything that man held for 16 years, finally he had some relief. And it was that closure that he needed, that he held for 16 years.
Have you ever received messages that you were somewhat afraid to give out?
Sometimes you have to use discernment. I know a lot of mediums wouldn't say that, but not everybody is ready to hear that, by the way, that your mother is going to pass away, tomorrow, or not everybody is ready to hear that.
Right.
So I always rely on my guides to tell me if they're ready or not. And if they are, then I would tell them that. But if they're not, then I would hold back. I've had that happen many times, where maybe I can tell one, like husband and wife, the wife is not ready to hear it, but the husband is. And then I have to use my discernment then. But yes, you do have to use discernment when you're doing this.
Have you had people that really got upset at maybe something, a message that was coming across?
I have never really had anybody that really, really got upset. I just had to kind of explain it maybe a little different for them to see it, and then they kind of understood better, And sometimes the way that we receive the message from spirit is not the way that person who you're reading understands it fully, but it's the way that we are perceiving it. That other person may perceive it totally a different way. So we're only giving the information usually, and I teach a lot of classes, but I always tell my students, whatever you're getting, you need to say it, because how are you going to know if that other person, if it's going to make any sense to them unless you say it, right? So But yes.
Honest with you, your gift is not something that I personally would want. I mean, for one thing, I would be concerned about, like, shall we say, spiritual invasions, and I'm just kind of curious, what do you do during a group session or individuals to kind of protect yourself, and during a session as well as away from that? What are the things you do?
So for me, I have, and we all have, spiritual guides, which I also teach classes about our spiritual guides. But we have guides that are our inner band that have been with us since the day that we're born, and they stay with us until the day that we die. And they work with me very closely, and they will help me with protecting my space, so to speak, for energy to get towards me. And when we say that, I always say that I have not only, so to speak, the dead trying to get into my space, but I also have the living. You know, and so I had to learn how to work with my guides, and also I have to learn how to set my boundaries. And that's kind of how I had to, I'm still learning. I feel like when we're doing this work that we're always learning, and that we have to learn different ways of how to cope with it. For me, I meditate a lot, which brings your vibration really high. I meditate every day. I bring in my guides. I talk to my guides. But I also do a lot of, I do clear my energy. And sometimes I take baths with salt, you know, Epsom salt, or or after I'm done with a reading, I always wash with salt, always, because it helps me with any negativity or anybody else's energy. It just kind of breaks through that.
Well, along those lines, has there ever been anybody that you just felt uncomfortable enough with that you kind of like rejected them, like you didn't want to read for them because of something you were getting from them?
I never really reject anybody, because I do feel like if they're coming to me, they're coming to me for a reason, and my guides wouldn't let them come to me if it wasn't for it. I've had several occasions where, even at the place that we're at right now in Irvine, that I read for somebody that very angry, and I would say there was a spirit within him that I really wasn't very fond of. But because I work very closely with my guides and God, that there was a reason why I was there with him. And so I do trust in my guides, and I do trust in the work that I do, and of course I trust God and all the angels. I trust them with the work that I do. So with that, about the trust, I mean, that takes you along. When you're doing this work, that really takes you further and further.
I've always wondered, with psychics and mediums, these types of people, do you ever get frustrated that you'd like to flip the off switch, but you can't find it that particular day, so you're kind of getting bombarded, overwhelmed? Well,
maybe when I first started, that's how it was. I was bombarded, but you kind of have to learn. When you're doing this work, if you keep having spirit coming to you constantly, I mean, it will take a toll on you. I mean, you'll be so exhausted, so tired. So you have to learn ways of protecting yourself and setting boundaries for yourself, like I was telling you earlier. But I do feel like I don't really have that problem anymore. But I would say in the beginning, yes. I would have to tell, when I was first bringing in spirit, it's like, oh my God, this is fun. You're bringing everybody. Everybody's coming in. This is so much fun. But I'd be at work, and they would give me, oh, you have to give so-and-so a message. You have to give so-and-so a message. You have to give so-and-so. And I would finally have to tell them that, you know what? Can you tell me after work?
Yes, too much.
Yeah, it was too much. And they do learn, because we are here to help people, you know, but we have to help ourselves too.
So do you feel like shall we say, the average person can definitely benefit from your services?
Definitely. There's a lot of healing work that this work, and from people that are doing this work, For me, when I'm doing this work, it's about ethics, morals, and responsibility, because what we say counts. And so I do feel very strongly that when I am doing a session with somebody, because I am working with their guides, I'm working with my guides, we're working with Source, we're working with everybody that is here to help with this healing process. And healing is only, maybe they're grieving, or maybe they need help in a situation, and their loved ones are here to help them. Or just because they're there, their loved ones, that will help them as well. If there's anybody out there that wants to study mediumship, remember, it's a process. It's something that you don't learn day and night. It's something that you learn that takes time for you to process this development.
Like a gift that you develop.
It's well, I don't know if you can call it a gift, because I mean, I don't feel like you have to be born with it. I mean, other people will disagree, but I do feel like you can develop this gift, but it does take time. It doesn't, you can't take a course one weekend, or just take all the courses and think that you're, after 6 months, that you're in a medium. And I mean, I'm not to say that you're not a medium. You can work as a medium, but it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight, because Spirit is going to teach you what Spirit wants you to learn at that particular time.
Right.
So when they feel that you're ready, they're going to help you.